viewers, how are you doing today? This is another episode of the Stepping Stone Story Time. Hooray! With Oluwaseun Afi. With me today is my darling sweetheart, Toby, and she is happy to share a story with us. Are you happy to share a story with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sure? Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. So I'll leave her to share a story with us. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name's Toby Afalaka and I'll be sharing a story with you today. It's really based on the jungle, kind of the king of the jungle, which everyone knows is a lion. So I'll hurry up and get straight into it. So at the beginning in the jungle, there was a famine in the land, and obviously when there's famine there's no food for anyone to eat, there's no water, so that everyone's just really hungry and really wants to drink stuff. But then obviously as the lion eats meat and is the king of the jungle, the lion decided to be killing other animals and other species to feed itself and to make sure that he's not hungry. As he's the king of the jungle, he's like, yeah, I should just eat whatever I want, I can kill whoever I want and it's over with. So the lion kept on killing animals and species, and all the other animals came together and were thinking like, what are we gonna do to stop the lion, because the lion can't just be eating all of us, because you never know we'll be next, and obviously you don't want to die. So they all came together and devised a plan. So they said, oh, let's think, and they were like, oh, let's put the lion in a cage, because obviously if you put a lion in a cage, he's not going to be able to come out if you've locked the cage and if the cage is secure. So they all came together and they put the lion in a cage and they locked the cage. Obviously the lion was like, whoa, I'm the king of the jungle, who runs this place? But he had nothing, he couldn't do anything because obviously he was locked in the cage. So then the lion was there for years, months, weeks, whatever you want to say. The lion was there, hungry, thirsty. He was pondering to himself, how could they do this to me? But he never really thought of how could he do that to other people or to other animals. Like, how could he just be killing people just so he could eat, being selfish? But then he was just there for weeks, months, days, however long you want him to be there for, and he was just thinking to himself. And then one fateful day, a young boy was walking past the cage, and he was like, what is a lion doing in a cage? The king of the jungle, what's he doing in a cage? And the lion saw the boy and he pleaded. He was like, please just let me out, let me out, let me out. And the boy was thinking to himself, why should I let the lion out when I don't know what he's done? I don't know why he's in the cage. Why should I let him out? So, pardon me, obviously the boy stood there, but he was still confused. He was like, should I let him out? Should I not let him out? What should I actually do? And then the lion kept on pushing, he kept on doing it, and he persuaded the boy. And the boy said to the lion, if I let you out, you have to promise me that you won't eat me, because obviously the lion eats animals, eats humans, because obviously it wants meat and meat is its food. So any meat he can get after these months and weeks of him being in a cage, not being able to eat anything or drink anything, he's thinking when he comes out of that cage, I'm gonna devour any meat in my sight. So the boy was like, please just make sure you don't eat me, promise me you won't eat me. And the lion was like, yeah, I promise, I won't eat you, you've helped me, I won't eat you. So then the boy unlocks the cage and lets the lion out. As soon as the lion is let out, he's like, oh, I'm about to eat you, like I'm gonna eat you. And the boy was like, hold on a minute, you just said that you weren't gonna eat me, you promised, we had this conversation already, you promised me that you won't eat me, but now you're saying you want to eat me. What do you mean? You're going against your word. What's that? Like, you said you was not gonna eat me, so why are you gonna eat me? And then the lion came up with a silly excuse saying that, oh yeah, good things, when you do good, evil comes to you in this world. And the boy was like, what do you mean? What kind of silly excuses that? What are you talking about? Like, that doesn't make sense and that's not true. The boy was like, that is not true. He doesn't believe it himself, but the lion said he believed it and that's what everyone else believed. So then when it came to the point as they were arguing, that the lion suggested something. He said, oh, okay, if you don't believe it, we'll go to three different animals and see what they say about what I said, which was, if you do good, bad things will come to you. Basically like karma, but in a bad way. doing something good and then getting bad karma, which doesn't really add up. It's not equal. So then they said, let's go to 3 different animals, and when we go to them, if they agree with me, which is the lion, then I'm gonna eat you. If they agree with you, then I'll leave you and I'll go find something else to eat. So then they went to their first animal. The first animal was a goat, and they asked, and the goat was like, I mean, the lion is telling the truth, because when I'm helping humans because they use my feces and my poo and manure and everything to grow their crops and for their harvesting, when the harvesters come, I don't get any food out of it. Like when I go and try and eat, when I go and try and chop a little bit, they tell me to go away. They shoo me off the farm, they shoo me off where I am, and they say, no, you can't have it. But really, I'm the one that gave them what they're using to grow their crops. And then the lion was like, see, little boy, it's 1-0, got another animal to go to. So the second animal they went to was the dog. And the dog was like, I agree with the lion also, because I'm protecting humans. When I protect them, I'm protecting them, watching them out, like watching out for them when they're sleeping in their tents, when they're hunting. I make sure that they get food, so I'm hunting for them as well. I kill animals for them, and when other humans or anything else wants to come and attack them, I make sure that they don't get there, and that may hurt me in the long run. So when we're hunting for food as well, I'm killing animals, but then when it's time for us to go cook the food, put it on the fire, and when I want some food, all they give me is bone. What's bone compared to me? Are you trying to, but that's not equal. But I did good for you, but you're giving me bone. That doesn't make sense. So then the lion said to the boy, oh boy, we've got 2-0, you've got one more chance. So then the boy was obviously pondering to himself, thinking, oh my days, I do not want to die. I do want to die by like doing good to someone. Like, what is this? He's thinking to himself, what is this? What can I do to get out of this? But obviously he can't do anything. So they went to the third animal, which was a tortoise. And the tortoise was like, oh, I'm not really sure. Let me think about this. The tortoise in his head was thinking about everything. And then he said to the lion and the boy, okay, where did this happen? Like, how did you come across each other? And the boy explained the whole thing to the tortoise, and was like, I was walking past the cage and the lion was locked in a cage. So then the tortoise said, okay, let's go to the cage. Then the tortoise said to the boy and the lion, was the lion in the cage or was he out of the cage? The boy said he was in the cage. The tortoise questioned, was the door locked, or was the cage locked, or was it opened? And the boy said it was locked. I had to unlock it so I could take the lion out of the cage. So then the tortoise said, okay, lion, go into the cage, and let's lock the door, let's lock the cage. And he was like, okay, well, that's really how we're going to sort this out, because we had gone through the process of how this happened, and this is what happened. So we're going to go back to the cage, we're going to go back to the original part and lock the lion back into the cage.
Wow. Thank you very much, Toby, for that. That was awesome. That's really good. So for me, talking about that, what lesson did you learn from that?
One of the lessons we learned, I learned from that, was that you should always keep your promises. I mean, everyone's human, everyone makes mistakes, but promises, if you want to keep a promise, make sure that you keep it. Like, if you promise something to somebody, make sure that you keep it, or make sure you try to keep it.
For us, we say promise is a debt. So if you promise someone something, is a debt. And Toby said that sometimes we deviate from our promise due to unforeseen circumstances. It's important for us as a family. Integrity is part of our core value, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we believe so much in integrity. And do we deviate from this? Sometimes, but you need to pass that message across to the other party. Communication is key. So our integrity matters. Let's stick to what we say. Remember, we can, due to some circumstances, sometimes we can deviate from it, but communicate it. Let you keep to your promise. This time around, the lion did not keep to his promise. And what happens is that next time, nobody will trust him to get him out of trouble. Okay, so that's one lesson. Any other lesson?
I think another lesson is to listen more and speak less. Obviously, in this situation with the lion and the boy and the other animals didn't really listen. They didn't really question anything. They just jumped straight into the bat, and they said, "Oh yeah, the lion is telling the truth. The lion is telling the truth. We're on the lion side. We're on the lion side." But really, the tortoise listened to what happened. So he listened from the beginning to the end, how they got to the original place and how they are where they are now.
Yeah, because that's important. I believe that the lesson here is don't be one-sided in your judgment. You can't just listen to one person. So there are two people, there's conflict between two people, and you decided to listen to one person. That's not fair. That's very biased. So always, and it's not even about conflicts alone. Even in life generally, you can't take things out of context. You read a book and then you took a sentence out of context, or you read the Bible, you take a sentence out of context. No, for you to understand the situation, you need to understand the context in which that thing happened. Okay, so that's another one. Don't be one-sided. Don't be biased in your judgment. Any other thing?
I think another lesson would be that experience kind of determines your response. So what you've been through, or what has happened to you, or the animals, kind of brings back their response. So like for the dog and the goat, what they had been through, what humans had done to them, had made their response link in with the lion, saying that you could do good and evil would come back to you. Because what response they got from the humans was evil to them, because they didn't get any food, they got rejected, and they didn't get what they thought they would get by doing good to someone. Even though you shouldn't really be looking for someone to do good to you just because you do good to them, you still expect a kind of courtesy and respect of a little bit of good. It doesn't even need to be necessarily a little bit of good. You just expect the respect back. You expect what you did to them for you to get it back.
Yeah, and also to add to that bit of talking about what you do, experiences in life. So I think that's really bang on. And what we need to do is sometimes we need to take ourselves out of the situation. I know it's hard, but for you to give the right feedback, the right judgment, or the right advice, you can't use your experience, because individual experience is unique to their situation. Individual experience is unique to their situation. It is not right at all to use your experience to judge another person, which was what these two animals did, apart from the tortoise.
Which is really like putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, because obviously you can link this into your daily life, into your life as a human. Like, things happen, but you always have to think back to yourself, how is this going to affect other people? How is this going to affect me? Am I showing love? Am I showing the love of God? Not necessarily human love, but am I showing love of God through everything I'm doing? And even if you make a mistake, you trip up, everybody trips up. You just have to communicate that, and you need to know when you've done something wrong, and obviously separate that from when you've done something right. If you've done something wrong, and you try and fix it, you try and resolve it. If you can't resolve it in yourself, then you look for help. Obviously, looking for help is hard, obviously,
and subjective as well.
And subjective, especially in this day and age. Nobody really wants to ask for help. But then you actually, if you can't do it yourself, then you have to find it.
That's another key point. People in your day and age don't want to ask for help. And the other question, they don't want to ask for help. Why is that? Just 1 second.
I don't. Why don't they want to help? I feel like that's kind of a bigger topic, but
okay, so
there's certain things that you just asking for help is like asking for help is sometimes you feel like you're asking silly questions. Like, asking for help makes you sometimes it makes you feel like you should know what you're doing.
Okay.
Another thing is this generation, 21st century, not even 21st century, from 20th century, every young person just wants to be independent. They want to know how to do it by themselves, know how to work by themselves, know how to talk to people by themselves, how to do everything by themselves. They don't want help. Like, obviously, that's the main question.
We are going to talk about that in another, that will be a bigger topic by itself. But lastly, I want to ask you, what does this generation feel about paying good for evil? Because I hear you guys say so many things in upside down, sort of. So I say good, someone comes and say this is wicked, and they're telling me wicked means good. I say this is beautiful, and they say is beautiful ugly. We talked about this as well, Toby, didn't we?
Yeah.
Beautiful ugly, and you're saying beautiful ugly means either beautiful or ugly. So things have been twisted these days. So what's your take in 1 second on paying evil for good in this generation? Is that true? We pay good for evil, rather.
I mean, I feel like it's not necessarily a one-time thing that someone does you good and then you do them bad. I think like it's a process, but we've been channeled and we've been channeled to think that it's acceptable to pay good for evil. I don't think that it came through our generation, because obviously our generation is like one of the newest generations, and we've been put in a position where technology is new. Everything in this generation is all about technology and friends and everything. So we've been put in a position and we've been channeled to think that we know it's not okay, but it is what it is. If I have to pay you evil because you did me good, then that's how it's gonna be. Because obviously you don't just do it you don't just randomly do it. You do it because you're hurt. You do it because someone's hurt you, someone's done you wrong. So things have to be put into perception, because perspective, because I think especially other generations look at us and they look at us down, but they didn't really understand that they actually set us up for this. Because you don't like, okay, let's think of a ladder. You don't get to the top of the ladder without climbing the lower steps. So you can't just say we're the ones that put all of this out there and are promoting all of this in this world. We're the ones showing this, we're the ones doing this, we're the ones allowing this, we're the ones being rude, disrespectful, but how do we get to the top of the ladder without climbing the bottom stairs? And obviously someone's holding the ladder at the bottom, and obviously someone's still climbing. So other generations were the ones holding the ladder for us, thinking that it's okay to go on that ladder, and other generations started to climb the ladder before we were born. So we've been born into it, and we've been channeled to think that all of this is okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'll just round up by saying thank you very much. You've done very well. I'll just round up by saying that paying evil for good, the first thing for me is really, when you do good to someone, don't expect the good to come back from that person. What's your intention in the first place for doing that good? A good example is I gave a friend of mine £20 when she was in need of that money because I had it. And then I am in need of maybe £10 even, and I expect that because I've done a good gesture, she will pay me back the same. So I went to her and I asked, and she said, oh, I don't have, or oh, I've got £10, but I need to use it for something, and I get angry with it. And I'm saying that she knows that I'm desperately in need of that money, but she's not ready to give it to me. No. You don't have to get back the reward of what you have done from the same person. In fact, in my own from my own perspective and from the Bible that I follow, you don't do that. God can use anybody to bless you. When you do something with the right intention, when you sow something with the right intention, it comes back to you from several other pathways. So paying evil for good is a no. and we're going to end it there. Thank you for watching. This is Oluwaseun Afilake and this is Oluwatobiloba Afilake. Thank you for coming on with me today and sharing this story. I hope this has blessed you. You can also put down something, comment what have you learned from this. Until we come your way again, have a nice evening, have a nice morning, nice afternoon, wherever you are in the part of the world, and stay blessed. Bye.
Bye.